Coach, a lot of reaction about this pride in Mississippi thing. I understand you had a video and you kind of pressed upon your team the importance of having pride in the state of Mississippi. Can you take us through some of that?
You know, the biggest thing, and a lot of it, starts with why did I come to Mississippi? Because for years I've understood that some of the best football in the entire nation's played in the state of Mississippi, and I know the emphasis of it, and I know what it means to the people here per capita. Oftentimes, more players go to the NFL from the state of Mississippi than any other state. And I think along with that and along with the greatness on the football field that's come from that, players need to understand the legacy that they're a part of and take ownership in upholding that. And that comes through hard work. And, you know, there's none of this, oh, shucks, I'm from Mississippi stuff. I mean, you know, this isn't one of those deals where, well, I figure I'm average and half the states are better and half the states are worse. No, they're great players come from here, and greatness comes out of here on the football field, and I wanted all of them to realize that.
Good times working.
Yeah, Mike, I know we're only a couple days into this, but what's one encouraging thing that you've learned about your guys so far, and maybe one thing that you've seen that, hey, we need to work on this before September 26th?
They really like football. I think that, they really embrace football and the challenges of football and like playing football. So I really like that. I think we got to be more polished. Right now, we're not as polished as we could be. We're explosive, but we're not polished. We've got execution, but not just, where to be when, but also the technique that we need to do it. All sides of the ball.
Ben? Hey, like, kind of in that vein, I know you guys have a lot of size. I know Cyrus Mitchell and Tyrell Shaver is bigger than maybe some of the guys you guys had at Washington State last year. How do they kind of factor in? And I guess what do they kind of give you, at least in the early going, with the size that they do have?
Big targets. The better they catch the ball, the stronger they'll be. We're still a little all over the place on our routes. But that's on us as coaches to sharpen and tighten that up and make it sharp, and because these guys have a lot of ability, but us and them both have to just work like crazy to make it sharp and precise. And I think we've made progress. And we're not there yet, but we've made progress.
Robbie?
Hey Mike, just expanding on that a little bit on what Ben was saying about your wide receivers. How do you feel like they're grasping the offense in the first few days? I know you talked about just having to play catch up. How do you feel like those guys have been able to grasp the offense just from the little that you've been around so far?
I think they're motivated. I think because they like having the ball and they like seeing their friends have the ball and the ball spread out over the field. I think that we, if we drop a ball, we got to take that a little more personally, but I think the volume of balls is probably something new that they haven't seen quite this many balls flying around. And then I think they're adjusting to the pace right now. I have thought they picked up the offense quite well. Just, I'm not saying, okay, here we had a perfect route. But in general, I think it happened probably a little quicker than I expected.
Brian?
Coach, you said one of the things about your offense that you used to institute is repetition and getting reps and getting reps. In a situation like this where you don't get the amount of reps you want to get, going back to the spring, what can you and your coaches do to sort of simulate that?
Well, we get as many as we can, and then the other thing that we have to do at some point, we got to make some tough decisions on who we're going to channel those reps towards. Because there's a point to where you can't just rep everybody equally. You've got to figure out, and it'll be within the next couple practices. We've got to figure out our top level guys and channel the reps that direction.
Good, Joel Coleman.
Coach, with your running backs, Kylan and Marks and the other guys, how are they kind of picking up things as far as in the air raid, and just what are you seeing out of Kylan and Marks and how they're coming along?
several of those guys caught the ball well. And then the other thing is I think for the most part, I've been pleasantly surprised at their route running. It hasn't taken forever to, to get their routes. Like I say, we're not there, but we had a quicker start than I thought. They do catch the ball well, and then they're explosive guys. There's a lot of teams that would like to have running backs that are as explosive as these fellas are.
Paul.
With Robert Williams deciding to sit out this season, has he talked about possibly coming back next year?
I haven't addressed it. I mean, I respect his decision to opt out, but we haven't gotten that far. I'm worried about the guys that are here. We're going to kind of focus our attention there.
Tyler.
Mike, Garrett Schrader's a guy who last year obviously started a few games, and at one point it looked like he was the solid future of this program. And then a guy like KJ comes in. I know you haven't announced the starter, but I mean he's probably making a pretty good push to be that guy. Just wondering what you've seen from Garrett Schrader and kind of how he's taken to KJ coming in and how he's trying to progress into his sophomore year.
I think he's done a good job. We've got 3 quarterbacks battling it out, and now in 4 that look pretty good. At least that we've had the chance to work with. KJ Schrader and Rogers, and then Jalen Maiden does some good things too. We're just trying to get it a little more automatic, a little more. That's the biggest thing is those. It's one thing for the quarterback to know the play, but it's another thing for him to react to it quickly. And then the other thing that enhances that is as we, settle on specific receivers a little bit. Each receiver has their nuances and their habits and their characteristics that, the more the quarterback becomes familiar with that, the better it is. And then I think the quicker things happen.
We'll go back to Ben. Hey, Mike, kind of following up on what Paul was asking, I guess, with Tyler opting out, are you anticipating anyone else opting out, or do you guys have any kind of deadline that you want guys to kind of make that decision by, or just kind of roll with it as it comes?
Yeah, we haven't done much. If they're there, I coach them, and so, I mean, that's kind of where we're at because it is kind of a moving target, and then not just that, but they mess with legislation on such things as we speak. So, no, I'm just, I'm in the, if you're there, I'm going to coach you real hard mode is where I'm at.
Steve.
Coach, Brad Compass and Ja'Cory Spivey came here to be tight ends, and their roles are evolving. How do you think they've embraced the change now that you guys have made them wide receivers?
Well, they're not really wide receivers; they're tighter receivers, but they do a good job. I mean, both of them when they play their best, they're not coverable really, and both are strong enough to move the defenders around a little bit as they're running their route and turning their body into somebody and making a reception, and they're always a little bit open. And Brad's got really good hands. And then, Spivey's just so, just such a big body out there, and like I say, moves people around. I'm excited about both of them. I'm excited about the aspect to have big guys out there. Guys like that in the past were playing D-end for me, but we had enough D-ends here, so. It's a luxury and one that I think is going to be really good for everybody.
Go back to Paul.
Coach, I know you just finished up your first week of training camp, but how soon are you kind of wanting to get the guys into a scrimmage type setting?
In a what setting?
A scrimmage.
I think tentatively next week. We still have some more work to do. You go out there, you work real hard, you get stuff installed, you get them good and sore. You want them coming back from it because, you don't want a bunch of zombies out there, just getting hacked up. And so, because you want to have a semblance of execution with it too. So, but I am looking forward to that, and I'm glad that it's, you know, that it's around the corner.
We'll go back to Robbie.
Coach Will Rogers, I think y'all recruited him a little bit in high school, even back at Washington State. So obviously, it seems like he fits a lot of what y'all want to do. He had that experience, I think, some in the air raid. His dad's an offensive coordinator, and he learned some under Gardner Minshew. How well do you feel like he's been able to handle, you know, even not having a spring, coming in as a freshman and handling what you want out of your quarterbacks, just from, you know, his mindset and that standpoint?
I've been real impressed with that. You know, a freshman comes in, one thing is the reps and the plays, but, you know, one of the biggest hurdles that those guys sometimes have is, you know, the confidence to feel like they belong there, and, you know, where they go out there timid like a freshman, and he hasn't done that. You know, he goes out there, you know, competes, you know, like he should be there, and so I think that's allowed him to improve even quicker.
We've got time for 2 more. We'll go to Brian.
So sort of going off of what Steve and what Robbie asked you, you've got a depth chart on offense full of guys that you didn't recruit, and they were recruited to run systems that are a lot different than yours. Is that a real issue for coaches, or is that something that fans sort of make as a bigger thing, you know, getting the guys in to run your system?
A little of both, but I think the biggest thing is, you know, there's a great team, a great coach. I'm trying to think who it was. He used to say, we're looking for runners and hitters. Well, most of them are runners and hitters. He was a defensive coach, but, you know, the thing is I think you can teach people to catch, and we need to sharpen that and polish that as fast as we can. But, you know, they're good athletes. They love football, and everybody likes the ball. I mean, I'd like to have the ball. They're just probably not very inclined to give it to me, and I guess I could force them to, but that wouldn't last long. And so, yeah, I mean, they like having the ball, and then once a guy's motivated to get the ball and get more of them, he's motivated to improve, and that seems to be kind of the attitude our team's had.
And we'll wrap up with Joe Coleman.
Couple things real quick, Mike. First, do you have an update on Leaky? Was he able to return to practice this week?
He was here today. I don't have any updates other than he was here at practice doing everything we wanted him to do. So.
And also this week, the NCAA came, I believe, with the legislation that guys, no matter what they do this year, won't count against their eligibility and things. How do you manage that from a head coaching standpoint with a signing class and maybe humongous rosters ahead? How do you manage all that?
That's a tremendous question, and I feel like you're probably going to have an article on it that'll have some good ideas that I may have wished I thought of. But given the fact that they haven't decided any of this, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. I mean, you know, I know what the initial decision was, but you know, there's a whole lot of things that you know, that opened up a whole bunch of other problems that have to be solved, and I'm not sure how they plan to solve them. You know, I mean, do you still get 85 scholarships, or do you get more than 85 scholarships? You know, if you have 2 seniors, are you treated the same as somebody that has 25 seniors? I mean, so it goes. You know, I mean, it's quite a long list, and you know, travel squads, all the stuff. You know, so and you can think about that, but and I used to do that. You know, speculate, think about it. There's people in our office that will too, you know, the type that are trying to predict who's going to get drafted before they ever play, and who's going to win the Academy Award before they have the event. I'm gonna read it in the newspaper. So you guys write it up, and I'll read it, and then I'll have a better idea what I'm going to do with all that from there. You know.
All right, thank you, Coach Leach.
Yes, sir. Drink Coke. All right. See you guys.